everybody, my name is BC Begley and thank you for watching. Today is Wednesday, February the 22nd of 2023, and here are your top news headlines for today. So the United States Supreme Court is set to weigh in on tech giants' liability in a new terror-related case. The United States Supreme Court is weighing Wednesday whether Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube can be sued over a 2017 Islamic State group attack on a Turkish nightclub based on the argument the platforms assisted in fueling the growth of the terrorist organization. What the justices decide to do in this case, and a related one that was heard on Tuesday, is important, particularly because the companies have been shielded from liability on the internet, which allows them to grow into the giants that they are today. On the first day of arguments, the justices suggested they had little appetite for a far-reaching ruling that would upend the internet. Wednesday's case about the nightclub attack, in which 39 people died, could provide an off-ramp for the justices if they want to limit the impact of what they do. At the heart of the cases before the justices are two federal laws. The first is Section 230 of the Federal Communications Decency Act, which protects tech companies from being sued over material put on their sites by users. And the second is the Justice Against Sponsors of Terrorism Act, which allows Americans injured by a terrorist attack abroad to sue for money damages in federal court. Okay, President Joe Biden allegedly once again fell on the steps of Air Force One. United States President Joe Biden has once again stumbled while boarding Air Force One as he was leaving Poland on Wednesday. Now, the latest blunder from the 80-year-old U.S. president was caught on video as he headed back home from his overseas trip. President Biden fell forward about halfway up the stairs to the plane as he boarded Air Force One at Warsaw Chopin Airport. Unlike his viral fall in March of 2021, the president was able to regain his balance as he stood back up and continued to the door. The U.S. president was seen waving at the crowd before entering the plane's cabin. Republican New York Representative George Santos has admitted to being, quote, a terrible liar to Britain's Piers Morgan. George Santos, the embattled Republican congressman from New York who fabricated large swaths of his resume, admitted in an interview on Monday evening with United Kingdom's Piers Morgan that he had been a, quote, terrible liar. Santos was elected to represent portions of the New York City borough of Queens and neighboring Long Island in November in a staggering number of falsehoods that have come to light since. His lies include claiming to be Jewish, graduating from college, working at finance giants Citigroup and Goldman Sachs, and that his mother was in the World Trade Center during the Al-Qaeda terrorist attack on the 11th of September 2001. Quote, I've been a terrible liar on those subjects, Santos told the broadcaster and journalist Piers Morgan during an interview on Talk TV. Quote, what I tried to convey to the American people is I made mistakes of allowing the pressures of what I thought and needed to be done in order to. This wasn't about tricking anybody. Quote, it wasn't about tricking people. This was about getting accepted by the party here locally, he said. Okay, according to Air Force veterans, they say they witnessed UFOs turn off nukes in the 1960s. The Pentagon's UFO office is investigating historic reports of mysterious objects interfering with key nuclear missile silos. Now, two Air Force veterans recently told the Daily Mail that they have testified to the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office this month regarding their experiences of UFOs interfering with U.S. nuclear missiles. One email shows AARO staff contacted former U.S. Air Force ICBM launch officer Robert Salas to gather information about his chilling encounter with an orange flying disc that inexplicably turned off 10 warheads at Maelstrom Air Force Base in Montana in 1967. And another former officer, Dr. Robert Jacobs, has briefed AARO on a 35mm film he shot for the Air Force in 1964 that allegedly caught a flying saucer shooting a test missile out of the sky. The accounts offer a rare glimpse into the often classified work of the government unit tasked with probing unidentified phenomenon in the air, sea, and in space. AARO Director Sean Kirkpatrick, is also interviewing 9 other witnesses of similar cases. This is according to author Robert Hastings, who has previously spoken to 167 veterans regarding, quote, more than 100 UFO incursions at nuclear weapons sites during the Cold War era and beyond, end quote. Okay, a new study is now suggesting that Earth's innermost layer is actually a 400-mile-wide ball of iron. Scientists have long wondered what lies at the very center of the Earth, and the latest research is putting weight behind a theory that our planet has a distinct ball of iron within its metallic core. Beneath the outermost crust, the mantle, and the molten liquid outer core lies the Earth's solid metal center, which actually has a hidden layer, or an, quote, innermost inner core within. This is according to a new study that was published on Tuesday in the journal Nature Communications. Now, the monumental finding suggests the Earth has 5 major layers instead of 4, and offered new details that scientists could use to help unlock some of the oldest mysteries regarding our planet and how it was formed. Geoscientists first suggested that the Earth's core might have an additional imperceptible layer about 20 years ago, and according to a news release, now using new data sets collected by measuring the seismic waves of earthquakes as they pass through the Earth's center, researchers have finally detected that innermost core, the study has said. Seismic waves are vibrations that run within or along the surface of the Earth and through its inner layers, as a result of earthquakes, volcanoes, and other means. Quote, in this study, for the first time, we report observations of seismic waves originating from powerful earthquakes traveling back and forth from one side of the globe to the other up to 5 times, like a ricochet. The study co-author, Dr. Tan Son Pham, who is a seismologist and a postdoctoral fellow at the Research School of Earth Scientists at the Australian National University in Canberra, said in an email. Space telescope has uncovered a massive galaxy near the cosmic dawn. Astronomers have discovered what appears to be massive galaxies dating back to within 600 million years of the Big Bang, suggesting the early universe may have had a stellar fast track that produced these, quote, monsters. While the new James Webb Space Telescope has spotted even older galaxies, dating to within a mere 300 million years of the beginning of the universe, it's the size and the maturity of these 6 apparent mega-galaxies that have stunned scientists. They reported their findings on Wednesday. Lead researcher Ivo Labe of Australia's Swinburne University of Technology and his team expected to find little baby galaxies this close to the dawn of the universe, not these big, huge galaxies. Quote, while most galaxies in this era are still small and only gradually growing larger over time, he said in an email, quote, there are a few monsters that fast track to maturity. Why this is the case or how this would work is unknown, he said. Now, each of the 6 objects looks to weigh billions of times more than our sun. In one of them, the total weight of all of its stars may be as much as 100 billion times greater than our sun, according to the scientists who published their findings in the journal Nature. The sun has unleashed its most powerful X-class solar flare in 5 years. On Friday, the sun hurled its most powerful solar flare since 2017, along with a coronal mass ejection in the direction of the Earth. According to NASA, the X 2.2 class flare was emitted from the surface of the sun late on Friday from sunspot region 3229. This is the most powerful flare so far of a solar cycle 25, which is expected to increase in intensity over the next couple of years before reaching a peak and beginning to decline again. An X-class flare is the most powerful category of flare, but Friday's blast is on relatively low end of the X-scale spectrum. Quote, radiation from the flare ionized the top of Earth's atmosphere, causing a deep shortwave radio blackout over the Americas, wrote former NASA astronomer Dr. Tony Phillips for spaceweather.com. The flare lasted over an hour, which is considered a long-duration flare. While the communications blackout started within minutes of the flare leaving the sun at the speed of light, the charged plasma of a CME travels much slower, typically taking a few days to reach our planet. It now appears that the CME delivered more of a glancing blow than a direct hit to Earth when it finally arrived on Monday. The agency says minor geomagnetic storm conditions are still possible, which could mean some difficulty with radio or satellite-based communications, including GPS. But this is less impactful than the moderate G2 level storm some were expecting, which may have made auroras visible in the lower 48 U.S. states. Okay, Pete Buttigieg oddly asks to take a reporter's picture after he dodged her questions regarding the Ohio train derailment. U.S. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg raised eyebrows on Tuesday when he refused to answer a reporter's questions regarding the crisis in East Palestine, Ohio, before then oddly asking to snap a photo of the journalist. Reporter Jenny Taylor approached Buttigieg while he walked outside in Washington, D.C. She identified herself as a journalist from the Daily Caller News Foundation and asked what he had to say to, quote, the folks in Ohio, East Palestine, who are suffering right now in the aftermath of the toxic train derailment that leaked dangerous chemicals into the air. Quote, well, I'd refer you to about a dozen interviews I've given today, and if you'd like to arrange a conversation, you should reach out to our press office, Buttigieg said. Buttigieg told Taylor that he would not have a conversation with her, quote, just walking down the street. But the reporter did not stop attempting. Quote, you don't have a message for them? She asked. Quote, I do, and I shared with the press many times today, and I refer you to those comments, Buttigieg fired back. Taylor responded, mind sharing it with us? Buttigieg declined, repeating that he would not answer her questions because he was taking some personal time. Quote, right now I'm taking some personal time and I'm walking down the street, Buttigieg said. Taylor then asked if he planned to visit the Ohio town, which prompted Buttigieg to reach for his cell phone. He then pointed his phone at the reporter and asked if he could snap a picture. Quote, can I get a photo of you? Buttigieg asked. The reporter can be heard giving permission before the video cuts off. Over 1,300 flights have been canceled as a major winter storm is threatening to produce historic snowfall. More than 1,300 flights within, to, and out of the United States were canceled on Wednesday as severe weather wreaked havoc with massive storms threatening to bring record snowfall across America. Residents across the northern plains will be hunkering down as the storm hits, with schools across the Dakotas, Minnesota, and Wisconsin announcing closures ahead of the severe weather system, which is expected to impact millions, while California contends with strong winds and sweeping power outages. The National Weather Service issued winter storm, blizzard, and high wind advisories for swaths of the western and the north-central U.S. in anticipation of the storm, with up to 2 feet of snowfall expected in some areas through Thursday. So, a mysterious large metal ball was discovered on a beach in Japan, and it's now prompting investigations. A mysterious iron ball, nearly 5 feet wide, was found on a beach in Hamamatsu City, Japan this week. Officials scrambled to ensure the giant ball was not a bomb, according to the Japanese broadcaster NHK, which released video of police examining the object. The ball is not a bomb, officials said, but its origin is still unknown. The peculiar orb, which is hollow and sand-colored, has baffled locals and social media users. The iron ball was first spotted by a local resident, according to NHK. Law enforcement closed off the beach as they examined and x-rayed the object, deeming it safe. It will be removed from the beach soon, local authorities have said. One local man told NHK he came to the beach for a run and was surprised at all the attention on the ball because he claims it had been there for a month. Quote, "I tried to push it, but it wouldn't budge," he said. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching. As always, all of the links to the articles that I have covered in this video, I will include in the video's description. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can share. Also, you can leave a comment down below. And if you guys want even more news, you can visit my website. The link to those, everything I do, website, social media, everything, Patreon, is in the description below. And I will see you guys for even more news headlines tomorrow.